The very first time that I was featured in the paper out here was for something that I was deeply ashamed and embarrassed of.
Alicia's here.
Alicia just left. It was so great catching up with her. Yeah, I'm about to dive into some painting. With this piece, I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with it. Part of it, I want to create like this creature. So y'all can see, I'm creating like this monster entity, and it's kind of like, it's not really a monster per se. I'm super inspired by stories and movies and books, but really it's like this storyline of this monster who is really kind of a representation of, I was gonna say shadow self, but it's not really a shadow self. It feels like the big gremlin sometimes that can be in my mind, you know. But so I'm drawing like another little caricature. Is she gonna be over here? Not exactly sure, but we'll put a little something there. It's like a kind of bit of a placeholder for her. We'll figure it out. So one of the stories that I really love is the classic David and Goliath story, right? So David has the stone and he just has a measly stone and a slingshot, and he pulls back the rock in the slingshot, lets it go, flings it at this big giant Goliath, you know? And so I love that story, and I think a lot of us can resonate with, like, that one has stood the test of time, right? Like, even if you're not a Christian, like, everybody knows the whole like David and Goliath story. But for me, I'm always trying to figure out, okay, if everything is energy, how can we harness an energy? Even if it's something that might traditionally be considered negative energy or bad emotion or a sad emotion. It's like, well, we are the ones who decided that it was bad. Like, what if it's actually not bad, and what if we could use that energy and use that power towards our advantage? It kind of made, like, y'all know I love movies. If you don't know, oh my God, like, if you are new here, welcome. I'm Aramis, I'm an artist out here in Seattle, and yeah, I love sharing my paintings and process, and even more these days, a little bit more like my life and some of the things that has been inspiring my works, but a lot of that comes through my lived experience, so it only makes sense to share some of this stuff with y'all. But the crazy thing is that, so if you are new, welcome, okay. The irony of me being featured in so many different publications around Seattle, the very first time that I was featured in the paper out here was for something that I was deeply ashamed and embarrassed of. And it really came down to me having a complete mental breakdown. And this was over 10 years ago, and it led me down this path of mental health, wellness, really trying to figure out how my brain works, how my body works, what are my triggers, what are the rituals and routines that I need in order to make sure that I'm stable, mentally minded, spiritually minded, physically minded, like everything that's needed in this world to exist, you know? And so, like, I'm able to say this today, I'm able to share this today, because it's something that I'm not ashamed of anymore. And it was also the event that triggered so many positive things in my life to help me withstand some of the sort of like, what the hell is going on outside? Like, going through that complete unraveling of every mental fiber that I had, it helped me become the person that I am today. And like, I'm starting to realize that now. I'm starting to realize because my mind was completely shattered and broke wide open 10 years ago, I was able to rebuild it back, like stronger and better. I was literally able to become this conqueror, you know, like, and I think if you watch some of my videos, some of that energy come out, you know, that strong, like, dominant energy. And I think that energy is still important too, you know. And so we have this sort of like Goliath, big giant, you know, sometimes we have these big things in our mind, and you have this little woman over here. Well, she will be there will be something there soon enough. But it's like you have this big energy over here, and like, but she's actually standing next to it, you know. It's gonna be like, I don't know, okay? I don't know what it's gonna be. But the energy that I want it to be is like, she's not afraid of the giant anymore. She's not running from Goliath. She doesn't even feel like she has to kill Goliath. Of anything, that can be a partner in crime. You know, it makes me think, if you know I love Rick and Morty, okay? You know I love me some Rick and Morty. It makes me think about the Pickle Rick episode. Okay, like, let's just have a moment. Me and you, we geeking out. Okay, remember the Pickle Rick episode? Since Rick turned himself into a pickle, he had no legs, okay? He had no legs, he had no arms, he couldn't do nothing. Somehow he rolled down in the sewer, and there was rats down there. Rick must have fucked up them rats, okay? But instead of just killing the rat and like leaving it just, you know, slain there in the sewer, he harnessed the power of the rat body to use the arms and the legs of the mouse so that he could walk and move his arms, you know what I mean? So it's like, we don't have to kill something and like completely discard it. How do we transform and transmute that energy and like alchemize it into something that could be towards our benefit, you know? So it's like, I try not to put a label towards everything, like, oh, like, this is bad, this is good. It's like, maybe if, like, okay, so I'm always figuring out how I can like rewrite stories. So with the whole David and Goliath story, am I blurry? I don't know. So let me just come up here just in case. So with the whole David and Goliath story, like, what if David didn't kill Goliath? What if he, you know, did some like mental telepathy and got in his mind and was able to control him and like just sat on Goliath's shoulder, you know, and was able to manipulate and was able to move Goliath where now he could actually be a weapon towards David's benefit, where he could harness Goliath's power and strength and size, you know, his grandiosity. What if he was able to harness that power and use it for himself? I'm just always on a journey of figuring out, like, how do I transmute the stories that I have been told or that I've been made to believe, you know? I like to just like dissect them and peel them back and be like, okay, how can I rewrite this story? How can I create a new story? And if I created a new story, how would it look? Like, what would the characters be like? Babe, you see the footprints that it's making in the grass?
It's frozen and still.
It's cold.
Yeah.
Got you some popcorn. Yes. It's chilly. Don't eat all of them. No, I gave you some. Social experiment. How long do you think it'll? Right. How long do you think it'll take to pop?
Not long. I mean, it's hot.
It is hot. But once they get going, they get going. Just take a little bit for them to come up. Yeah. You want pop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need more heat.
Yep. Need a direct heat. Crystals in the grass. The icicles. It's so beautiful.
That we saw over the last 5 years was really that people were buying more art online. There was a rise, there was a rise of digital platforms. Your favorite thing, Instagram, was really quite an important buying channel, you know. And what we've seen, I think, over the last year now is really that the online buying habits have gone down. Digital really is declining, not just in terms of NFTs being not interesting anymore. I think that's also a trend shift. But also people want to buy art in person. You know, 85% of art purchases now are people going to a gallery, seeing the art and buying the art. So it's very much back to the roots. Is that your experience as well, Felipe?
I just got off the live stream with the grandfam. Love him. Let me get a paper towel. Like, girl, I stayed longer than I planned to. Like, I had gone live. Yeah, I went live 3 times. Which was so much fun. Like, oh my God, I just love y'all. I just love hanging out and vibing. But man, I'm glad I got some food before I started. So I actually ran to Trader Joe's and got like a little snack. Look, Trader Joe's haul. The creamy hummus and vegetable wrap. Really good. Why am I addicted to these? If you know, you know. So the live stream was super dope. So I went live all weekend. Let me see by the time y'all get this. Ooh, yeah, y'all gonna get this in December, huh? She got her content calendar. Okay, it's not a game. I'm having so much fun on YouTube, and it was so great seeing some of my YouTube people coming over to my Instagram. So if you are interested in more of my art and this sort of like, I feel like here on the channel, I'm sure, like I sort of pivoted and started sharing more like lifestyle stuff. But if you are interested in my work in particular, I would love to have you over there on Instagram. But so in the live, I was talking about how my experience as a nurse inspired my art. And actually, shout out to my patrons and my co-creators. I uploaded the video for y'all over there on Patreon. It was that YouTube live stream, but a little bit of better quality, okay? Better quality, better audio, better viewing experience, and it's uploaded on YouTube, so you could just like listen to it in the background. What I don't like about Insta, are we going on a rant? Like whatever, you here now, okay? That viewing experience is for y'all over there on Patreon, and so super grateful for my patrons. What was crazy in the midst of me talking about how my like healthcare background and everything inspired my work, there was somebody on the chat who said that like I was their nurse. Like I was their nurse at one point. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, that is just so amazing. That is so amazing, y'all. Like, what is the odds of that? I mean, like, it is an Instagram live, so we couldn't really go too in depth. But I'm like, man, like, is he from Chicago? Like when I was a nurse in Chicago, or is it down here in Seattle when I worked at Northwest Hospital, or when I worked at Swedish? Like, I'm literally
No, but it's super dope that there's people who follow my art journey who I literally care for in healthcare. Like, that's so wild. What did I want to share though? Because we're talking about our mental health routine throughout the winter season, and y'all, it gets real. And so kind of tying it back into my experience as a nurse and in healthcare, like that's something that's so important to me. And yeah, so really there's just like so many different things that's helping me that I'm gonna share throughout this video. But I just ran up to Costco earlier today to get my vitamin D. So I have found that vitamin D3 supplements do help me, especially since I do live in Washington. It does get gloomy and gray. We won't see the sun for 5 months, okay? And as a melanated queen, that's a long time, okay? Whether you melanated or not, we all need vitamin D, okay? We need vitamin D for our bones, for our immune system, for our health in general, okay? And for our mood. Like, it's a real thing. And so I do take supplements, I do take vitamins. I actually really like Ritual vitamins. Like, I'm not even, y'all, I'm be sponsored right now. I don't even gotta really, who I am sponsored by, my patrons, okay? For real. Those are like, for real, the sponsors of my everything, okay? But yeah, no, I actually really do like the Ritual vitamins. Like, they have a minty flavor to them, and like I actually enjoy taking them. I'm like, wow, like these are like the first vitamins that I actually probably enjoy taking.